Okay, so when we're working with a cat, I'm going to do a demonstration. We want to, we're not going to use a lead unless the cat is trained on a lead, but we can use our hand to make a connection. So I'm going to put my hand as close to Stanley, this is Stanley, as I can without raising his thinking levels. And I'm going to make sure that his head is in my peripheral vision and that I can see all of his body. I'm going to make sure that my body is very comfortable so that it's easy to keep my body still. And I'm going to, if he stays still like this, I will find a point where I can still see his head in my periphery. Ideally, I'd be able to see his eyes. They're a really good window as to where his thinking levels are. And then I would go into the present moment. But we always start in mindful regard. So I'm just going to look at him and see what he's telling me. I'm going to be actively thinking about him. He's laying down, but his tail is moving. This is actually pretty normal for him. He does move his tail, even when he's calm, but his body is not so relaxed. His eyes are not too open, and they're closing a little bit, and he's staying still. So I would say he's around a level 4 because his tail is moving a little bit. And I like to start in mindful regard and observe the thinking levels because our goal is only to lower the thinking levels. It's important that we don't have the expectation that our animal is going to fall asleep or go into a dream state. You can't go into this with expectations. Our goal is only to lower his thinking level. So we're starting around a level 4. He's sitting a little bit up and his tail is moving. He's aware of me. He's listening to me with his ears. He's purring a little bit. Okay. So if he stays still, then I can find a spot with his head in my periphery and I can go into the present moment. If he moves, I'm going to come out of the present moment and I'm going to mindfully regard him again. I'm going to be actively thinking about him. I'm going to be saying everything that I notice about him. And that's our way of listening to him and learning about him. So he's still, he's listening over to the right. His tail's moving a little bit, but he's still enough that I can go into the present moment. So I'll find that spot. I'm going to keep my body still. His head is in my periphery. And if a thought comes in, I'm just going to accept it and let it go, return to my spot, return to being still. So he's moved his head toward me, so I'm going to come out of the present moment, go into mindful regard. So he's still listening with his ears, his tail is still moving, he's still purring a little bit. He's in the same position, he hasn't relaxed down at all. But his eyes seem a little bit more relaxed, they're starting to close a little bit. He's looking around. And he's licking his lips, accepting the peaceful feeling for me. And he's become a little bit itchy, so that's some unpeace coming to the surface. I'm going to scratch that a little bit. That's good, we want this to happen. And he's scratching his tail, well, licking his tail. So that's good, we want this to come to the surface, any unpeace. It could be just that he's wondering what I'm doing. It could be something else. If we listen well, we'll begin to learn. And if we listen well, we'll support the process of this unpeace coming to the surface and coming up and going out. When it comes out, it leaves more space for more peace. So then we can go back into the present moment and add more peace. So he's started to groom himself. Again, animals often become itchy. It's part of the process. Our skin is our biggest organ, so it makes sense that our skin might become itchy as we begin to settle down and that unpeace rises up to the surface. I'm just going to observe him. Zooming a little bit more. Again, this is pretty common for a cat. He's biting a little bit. His tail's moving a little bit. He's between licking and biting. I can see that he's over-groomed a little bit on his belly area. It's been humid here, so there's more bugs around. And again, I'm just in mindful regard. I'm just listening to him, thinking about him, allowing him to go through this process. If we listen well, he'll be able to release this unpeace and become more still, and we can add more peace. My dog's just arrived, so I hope he's not going to jump up here. No more. No. No. Well, Marcy wants to join in. Sometimes other animals will come into a session because it's a nice feeling and they want to share it. So as long as he's not disturbing Stanley, he can stay. This is Marcy. So again, I'm just going to position myself so I can see all of Stanley, so that my body is comfortable, so that it's easy for me to stay still. That's important because it's going to help me stay in the present moment, to lower my thinking levels, to go into that non-thinking state, and be able to share that peaceful feeling with Stanley. But for now, we're just regarding him. We always go at the animal's pace. Some days we might have to be in mindful regard the whole time. I guarantee you the next time, or the time after that, if you've listened well, if you've mindfully regarded well, there will be a point where the animal is able to be still and peaceful. So he's laying back now, grooming his back. Turn that, make sure you can see him. Don't know if you can see me, but that's not so important. The important thing is I have my hand here. That just builds a connection. It's like having a lead. It's not for control, it's for connection. Just keeping his attention to me a little bit. Still grooming, but now he's lying down. He's grooming his front legs now. Biting a little bit, licking, cleaning. And I'm just going to stay here regarding him. Once he's done this, he'll be able to be more still, he'll be able to be more peaceful. We're always guided by the animal. Every day is different, just like for humans. And again, I'm just regarding him, as he's also being very still. He's grooming, continuing to groom his arm, or his leg. And so we're just listening. We only had a few seconds of being in the present moment, of sharing that peaceful feeling with him, and all of this has come up. It's nice to be able to be here, support him through it. He knows we're here, supporting him through it, and help build our relationship of trust. We're not forcing him to stop. We're not making him move faster through this process. He's going at his own pace, and we're supporting him through that. All these things help to build the trust, build the confidence, make that connection, and improve the communication between you. Again, we're still just observing. He's got a bit more still. What we set up again. A little bit more itchy. More stuff's coming up. Looking at the base of his tail now. There's a mosquito in this room. So I'm moving. I'm just trying to be still. We really want to join the animal on their level. So I'm not going to be overly still, overly quiet at this moment, because he's not being overly still and quiet. You know, he's a bit itchy. And so if we're going to listen well, then we're going to have our voice a little bit higher. We're going to try to join him on his level, you know. It would be like if your friend came and was very upset. I was trying to tell you all the things they were upset about. And if your response was to go, yeah, but let's be peaceful, like that, they'd think, oh, you're not where I am, you know, and they probably would think you're not listening well to them. But if instead you said, oh my gosh, really, what happened? Then you're joining them on their level in that way. I know there's a mosquito, Morsley. And that's what helps them know that you're really listening to them. Okay. So he's continuing to groom. Again, we don't know how a session's going to go. We don't know what's going to come up. He's obviously become very itchy. He's needing to groom. And we're just in mindful regard. We're just in mindful regard. And that's okay. He's groomed his legs and his tail, and he went up to his front legs. Now he's come back. Looking around. And he builds the connection. And he's had to move away. Cats move away. So there are two choices. We can follow him, see if he's settled somewhere else, and if his thinking levels don't come up too much, then it would mean that he's accepting us continuing the session. But it could be that that was enough for him, and we should stop there. So if his thinking levels come up, if he moves away again, then we wouldn't follow him. But we can follow him once. We can see potentially if he doesn't mind us continuing. So we'll continue that. We'll continue by going and seeing. Let's see. Now you're getting a tour of my house. I don't even know where he went. I'm guessing that he went to get food because he's quite food driven. No, he hasn't. So let's see. It's possible that he went up to the room where he normally sleeps to be more relaxed once he released all of that. Yes, he has. I thought he might have. Okay. So he's gone here. This is where Stanley normally is. So it kind of makes sense to me that he would have come here because this is where he normally would relax. And let's go. Oh, hi, Stanley. Hi. I'm just going to put, so that's nice. He's come up to us. that kind of indicates to me that he doesn't mind us having followed him. And just gonna find a way. Hi, Stanley. Yeah. So he was grooming a little bit. He had a little bit more to groom, but let's see. I'm just gonna set this up so it can film. Okay. Yeah. It's nice. That indicates to me that he doesn't mind us being here with him. So we'll continue here. So he's giving me some kisses. That's nice. Some licks, a little bit of a bite, but then a lick. That's normal for him too. I'm just putting my hand here as a connection. I'm going to be quiet for a bit, just see what he wants to do. So he's grooming a little bit more. Maybe he thought he was going to be alone, but we've come, so he has to release that. I'm just going to be quiet to try to allow him to be quiet too if he wants to be. But I'm still in mindful regard. I'm just observing him. He's looking around, listening to the birds. Purring a little bit. Stanley. So he's jumped down, and I'll show you, he's chosen to get on the other bed, which tells me that he needs a little bit of space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a little bit closer until he doesn't, and I don't want him to move away, but I want to find a space where I can be and he can be, where his thinking levels aren't raised. I don't want him to feel like I'm following him, chasing him. But maybe this is enough space. I'm not on the bed now. I'm trying to find a space where he feels comfortable with me continuing. But he's between a 4 and a 5 now. Probably a 4. He's not moving too much, but he's looking around. There's some movement. Purring a little bit. His eyes are pretty relaxed. His tail is going. And if he's not able to relax with me this close, I could move a little bit further away. That might make him feel like he can lay down. So he's got a little bit itchy. Again, that's good. We want any NP at surface. It's often shown through itchiness. And he's moved away and he's gone back to the other bed. So this is interesting. He obviously needs a little bit more space. I was too close. I started too close. I moved back. I still wasn't back far enough. He's chosen to give himself a little bit more space. And I'm going to listen to that. And I'm going to stay at a distance where he doesn't have to move. He's been able to lay down now. But his tail is going. Again, that's a little bit normal for him. My vet actually said she's never seen a cat that moved his tail even when he was calm. So I'm going to get a little bit closer, but not as close as I was before. I'm going to put my hand. I can always move closer once he relaxes. Okay, so he's been able to lay down now. His eyes are almost closing. He's gone down to a level 3. Normally that would be no movement. I think for Stanley that's still a 3, even though his tail is going. So he's still now. I can find a spot with his head in my periphery and I can go into the present moment. Licking and chewing, that's a sign that he's accepting that peaceful feeling for me. His eyes are now closed. So I've come into mindful regard because he moved. His tail is a constant movement, so with this cat, I'm going to kind of ignore that. He's purring a little bit. His ears are listening. His tail's going, but not too strongly for him. His eyes are almost staying shut now. We'll go back in the present moment, add a little bit more peace. Oh, opened his eyes a little bit, moved his head. Still very sleepy, his eyes. Again, I'm mindfully regarding, I'm thinking about him. His eyes are closing again. And as he's staying still, I can go back into the present moment. Yeah, he's moved, so I've come out into mindful regard. Moved his head a little bit. His tail's the same, still purring a little bit. Eyes between open and closed. For level 2. Purring is getting quieter. So I can go back in the present moment. It's been about 30 seconds without any movement. You always want to come out of the present moment and into mindful regard. What's he telling me? He's telling me he's feeling much more relaxed now. His eyes are pretty much staying shut. His purr is very quiet and peaceful. Again, I'm joining him on my level. My voice is now more calm. I feel more calm. His tail's getting quieter with its movement. He's kind of sinking a little bit down into the bed. Purring stops now. And if he stays like this, I can go back into the present moment, add a little bit more peace. Okay, next about 30 seconds, you want to come out of the present moment, take away any of that pressure. Regarding some bit of a hiccup. Eyes are staying shut now. Again, body seems to be relaxing lower into the bed. Tails almost stop moving. Very still now. Breathing really calmly. So go back in one more time. back into the present moment. In about 30 seconds we come out. Now we can decide if we just want to let him stay like this. Pretty much almost a level 1, almost asleep. We can leave it there. Mindfully regard him for a little bit. He looks very relaxed. And we can go back in again, into the present moment, helping to go deeper into that sleep, into your level 0, which is a dream state. His tail's not moving anymore. Listening a bit to the birds, but his eyes are staying closed. He's very still. And we're back in one more time. Again, that's about 30 seconds. He stayed absolutely still. It's really lovely to have seen him release all of that unpeace, whatever that was. Whether it was, we won't know right now. If we continue working with Stanley, it'll be a bit more clear. Sometimes we won't know, but we do know that through mindfully regarding him, we allowed him to go through that process to release that unpeace, which left room for us to add more peace, and now he's able to be still. By listening to him, we found that he needed to be in his space. This is normally the room he is in. He's not normally in that first room. We were on his bed. He needed a little bit more space. I moved too close to him, so now I've learned a little bit about the distance he needs. So he had to move back. And I stayed at a further distance with my hand a little bit further away, which allowed him to stay still and not have to move again. So it's all a learning curve. And today might be like this, tomorrow might be different. We adjust. We adjust to them because we're going at their rhythm and we're listening to them. We're in a deep listening state. And therefore our intuition grows about what they're telling us and what they need. And we're able to respond to that. And because they will become aware that we are listening and responding, they will start telling us more. And because we are helping them to release that unpeace, to become more peaceful, to feel this way, they're going to really enjoy that. And they're going to be wanting to spend more time with us. Practicing this beautiful technique. It was lovely to have seen Stanley go through that process today. Thank you, Stanley. And leave him to be peaceful.